Welcome to Recross the Paths, where we celebrate the Cube community one conversation at a time. My name is Cade. Today, I'm here with the myth, the legend. It's Aqua. Welcome, Aqua. Thank you for being here.
It's a pleasure to be here, and just Aqua, no legend.
Not legendary creature, just creature.
Yes.
Well, it is a joy to have you here. I'm so excited to talk about Cube and your Cube in particular. One of the inspiring aspirational projects for many in the Cube space, I would wager.
Yeah, there's a number of us who are kind of obsessed with the art and artists of the game, and I'm glad that I can be part of that segment of the community.
You know, every Cube designer would hope that their Cube brings joy to other people. I think you have perhaps a unique opportunity to show it through your powered cube, and I've seen it happen at conventions and at events, just watching people light up and experiencing something brand new, not just in your the art that you've curated, but in the cube that you've put together and how it plays. So I'm excited to dive into a lot of that.
Absolutely.
So Aqua, just to give folks an idea of kind of your background in the game, why cube?
So I started playing Magic back in the dark, so I've been playing forever, and I have all these like old expensive cards and nonsense. I genuinely wish I could recall the exact moment that I got into it or first learned about it. Like, it was mentioned in online forums and I saw it, but I didn't really know what it was about. I was lamenting not having anywhere to play Vintage while playing some casual games with friends, and one of them brought up Cube as this possibility, and I'm like, you know what? Let's do this. And so we did.
So it's really just like, hey, let's cube, and you're like, I'm in.
Yeah, I mean, it was still in that very early days, not the very beginning. I think I missed probably the first 8 years or so of Cube, which is kind of wild, but it's been around that long.
Yeah.
But this is still back when Cube was, hey, take all your most broken things and put them together in a box and let people draft it. And yeah, look how cool this broken stuff is. And we weren't really curating properly back then. So Cube has come a long ways.
Yeah. Did you ever pursue other ways to engage with Magic, or did Cube kind of hook you early on?
Oh boy. I mean, always, whenever there's a variant format, I explore it. I have like Oathbreaker and Canlander and Tiny Leaders and Pilot and like any format out there. I think I'm up to 7 Dans at this point.
Nice.
I have 8 cubes, but we always were exploring new formats. There were a few of us that played Prismatic for a while. Good old 250 card decks.
I love that, like the way you described that, the idea that's like, yeah, I don't play any of those things like standard or, type 1 or whatever. It's like, no, we went pursued
well, like
all these other.
Oh man, I used to. Like, I was big into Vintage for a bit. I had this one roommate. We used to have the house full of Magic players, just Magic and MMOs, and he was obsessed with Vintage. And so we would spend a couple nights a week, like 4 or 5 hours of just grinding Vintage.
That's so cool.
I miss that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not to kick back in the rocking chair too far, but yeah, Vintage looks so different now. I mean, there's a very different pace of play, a lot of grinding back then, like a lot of back and forth.
Oh yeah, there's you, me, and Pepperidge Farm, man. We're the ones who remember. For constructed formats, when Modern was first starting, I really had fun with that. I took the Soul Sisters deck that was kind of out there and went, we can lean into this. And so I'm like, wait, we have our Champion of a Parish. We've got our Soul Sisters, which are humans. Nora Noweri. I love Nora Noweri. Let's do stupid things with them.
Yes, good.
Wait, these are all humans. So Dark Confidant is human. Let's do that. And so I ended up making this deck that was this human-focused deck going into Modern. And there was this dude who I played with at this event in Seattle, and he's like, oh, that deck's so cool. Can I look at it? And he took like this copy of a deck, and then he wrote an article about his new deck called Humans.
Oh no.
I'm like, oh, that's not cool, bro.
Oh man.
The other deck that I had a blast with, we had a crew that went down to this Modern event down in Tacoma. It's a town like south of Seattle, and I brewed this really bizarre deck that had this at least on paper, a great record against fairies, which was expected to be the deck. But that was when Seismic Swans busted out as like the new deck in Modern. And I did not do well in that tournament. So, oh well. But the deck was neat. The deck was fun. And I've also made a handful of decks for friends when they're going to whatever event. I was talking with one of my roommates earlier today about there was an era of Standard back around like Scourge and Mirrodin and that kind of thing, where I built this deck called Turbo Fate that was going in there, and you did like a land, Chrome Mox, Pentad Prism, and then turn 2 you drop Shared Fate, and your deck has no win cons. Your entire plan is just play their deck. Your deck is just card draw and discard and just Shared Fate.
That's awesome.
I think it ran 3 Serum Powders.
To get the mulligans too, where you needed to be.
Yes. Is this hand a win? No. Throw it away.
Try again, yeah.
Yeah. And that's sort of me. I want to play something weird. I want to play something that's slightly outside the normal. So nowadays, the format I play second most after Cube would be CEDH. But I don't really play the standard decks, and even when I do, they get weird. So when I was playing Najeela, like my Najeela is a stacks deck, and people are like, what are you doing? And a lot of the other stuff I do is like, okay, yeah, this is definitely bracket 4. I don't know if I can get this recognized, but I'll play against CDH players and I still get wins. So I'm like, yeah. Well.
So it's like everybody succeeds here. You get to do the thing you enjoy.
Yeah. Like for me, it's less about the win and more about, can I do a cool thing? So I probably should embrace bracket 1, but I just can't. I have groups of friends who play in like different brackets, and I am grateful that I get the opportunity to play in bracket 5 games, to play in bracket 4 games, play in bracket 3 games, play in bracket 2 games. There's always something to do, as well as having multiple cube nights every week here in Seattle. We have such a good community. Props to everyone who's involved, like all people who started things off at Zulus. So big respect to Toonie and Keldon and the rest of the gang there. All the people who started the Card Kingdom Cube League in the long, long ago. It's now defunct, but that lived for a good long while.
Well, yeah, anytime you get to talk about multiple cube nights in a week, I'd say that's a pretty triumphant thing.
If you live in Seattle, you could easily play Cube 4 nights a week, like without even trying.
Awesome. That's so cool.
It is. Like, we don't have as big of turnouts as like Baltimore, obviously, but it's pretty good here. People eat well.
That's great. Well, and I'm hearing some of your sensibilities that I'm reading in your overview for your cube, like this desire to just have these novel play experiences, these fresh things come out.
Always.
And I imagine having a recurring event allows you to do more of those things. So it doesn't feel like you have to doctor up something to a particular, I don't know, like you have to cook it to a certain specification for it to be, usable at a cube. Like you can explore all sorts of stuff if you know you're going to get to do it again next week or the week after.
It's a little trickier because most of us have like 6 to 10 cubes. So when you have like, okay, here's our group and we have 3 cubes firing tonight, or we have 2 cubes firing tonight. And so when you get something into the queue, it's probably going to be like a month or so out before you get in. So you probably get to draft a cube once every couple months for something that you're working on. If you want to do it more often than that, then you're usually hosting at your house or at a brewery or wherever else.
And then you're up to 5 or 6 drafts a week.
If you want to, which is still less than conventions. There's conventions where we will fire this thing. Like I think the record was 12 at one convention.
My goodness, that's so great.
Yeah, it's nuts. Like this year at Gen Con, we're doing 7 as official events, which is pretty cool.
Congratulations on that. That's really exciting.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
And certainly I want to unpack some of that more about, traveling with the cube like this. But before we get to that, I think it's worth exploring the cube itself. What do you think?
Absolutely, yes.
So would you be kind enough to give us an overview for your powered cube, Aqua?
Sure. So Aqua Unpowered, it used to have some numbers after it, but that was lame, so I got rid of them. It's a fully powered cube. It plays outside of what people would expect in a fully powered cube. You're going to see familiar archetypes, not necessarily the same cards. Composition's fluid, changes often. Since it doesn't have macro archetypes and it doesn't have, these are like the tier 1 archetypes, it's pretty easy for stuff to flow in and out, or as 1 or 2 cards come in and other cards go out, you get a new archetype or a new significant intersection of abilities that provides something to explore. And as something loses adequate density, then, okay, well, if this is out, then this also has to come out. So sort of these little packages form. Other things that make it a little different than your conventional powered cube, there's conspiracies, there's draft matters cards, there is 1 hero card, and most recently 1 acorn card.
Not Heroes of the Realm.
Not Heroes of the Realm.
An actual hero card.
Yeah, so hero cards were back in the OG Theros block. I think it was like Board of the Gods and like Journey into Nyx and whatnot. There were these hero cards that you could use to like face a Hydra, or there was face like this horde or something. I don't recall the specifics off the top of my head.
It was the Minotaur horde, defeat the Hydra, and then you got to fight Xenagos was the last deck, I think.
Yeah. So you could use these hero cards in that, and they don't have a magic back, and they have weird rules, and some of them have stickers. It was a strange time.
Yeah, you got the stickers for completing challenges at pre-release that you could purportedly build your own. Like, they were ridiculously cracked equipment if you put stickers on them, but they were just for playing against the NPC decks.
They were cracked even without the stickers. With the stickers, they're
true,
like super cracked.
Wait, Aqua, you mean free things are powerful? You just start with
Who knew? So the least cracked of the heroes, in my opinion, the one that I ran is this card called the Protector. It just has the text, tap, prevent 1 damage to any target. That's it.
And folks who have played in the Odyssey block will know that that's a pretty hefty line of text.
It is. But yeah, the list plays more like a synergy cube than your traditional Moto Vintage. And the thing that really defines my cube, I suppose, is a lot of the cards in it are signed and altered by the original artists. Some of them are completely painted over. There's also no compromises made for spreadsheet aesthetics or complexity. So you have dozens of mechanics that have a single instance in the entire list. I do not recommend that for curation in general, just like I do not recommend heavily altered cards for curation in general, because those are major barriers to newer players. I have immense respect for curators like Deinonychus in the Bodleian Cube, because they ensure cards are readable, they have reminder text for lesser known mechanics. There's a lot of value in that.
But there's also a unique joy to opening a card that is an artist proof by an artist that is then unique to this experience and going, oh, this is something that you won't see anywhere else.
100%. Yes. So there's people who have fanboyed and are, oh, can I take a picture of this? Can I take a picture? Oh my gosh, this is so cool. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, you're coming in at an 11. Can we scale it down?
I mean, we'll take 10 excitement sometimes. That's good.
Yeah, as a treat.
Well, Aqua, I think something that may be helpful for folks who are thinking about their own projects, can you speak a bit to how your cube has changed over time? I know you mentioned the version numbers. Like there's been a lot of iteration because you've had this for a while.
Yes. Yeah. So the original list, like I said, was just a box of broken things. There was not a lot of thought and design. Like there was no balance, no clear archetypes. After a while, we started getting things better established. You had like your White Weenie, your UX Control, Reanimator, Red Deck Wins, Ramp were your Woobergs. There was a Brown Town deck, but it was not good.
You got to try Metalworker, though. It's so tempting.
You do. I actually have an altered foil Metalworker by Don Hazeltine, and he forgot to sign it.
Oh, no. How would anybody know?
Exactly. I have about 20 cards that are altered by the artist with no signatures, and I'm like, oh dear, if they die, this is just a horribly damaged card, because no one's going to know.
Yeah, it's like you almost have to send it back. Like, would you please authenticate your own work here?
Pretty much. I need to swing by Jesper's house and be like, dude, can you sign these dual lands? You altered them, but you forgot to sign.
So you started with these early themes as you were building the cube out?
Yes, and after bringing it to a number of events, and we started having discussion forums emerge, and then Cube Tutor, when it came on the scene back in 2013, made it a lot easier to see what other people were doing, to leverage the collective knowledge. We started getting things better defined. We added conspiracy and draft matters cards after conspiracy came out. Things were still pretty power motivated back then, but the cube had just ballooned in size. I trimmed it down to about 450 cards, but as years went on, around 2019, it was back up to 492 cards. 2020, I'm like, okay, if you want to have like a proper vintage cube, it's supposed to be 360. So I tried that. I brought it down. The power and consistency went up. The fun went down. So there's definitely something to be said for variance and novelty, because that 360 version did not last long. Brought back some of the old favorites. We ran it at 400 for a bit. That's 4 packs of 12 and a 16 card lore seeker pack. We realized we needed more fixing. There were a few more cards we wanted to include. So it's like, okay, 4 more cards per player. I'll do 2 packs of 14 and 2 packs of 12 instead of being a sane person and saying, bro, that's 4 packs of 13. What are you doing?
But like it makes sense when you sketch it out, right? And then it's like, wait a second.
Yeah, I was still seeding my packs back then. So like the first pack was Wooburg CL and 7 randoms. Packs 3 and 4 were MCL and 9 randoms. And yeah, like I tried the 4x13 random, and I just had bad luck with color skew. After like a little bit of curation for like a year and a half, I think it was Boston Cube Party. I can't remember if it was Bones or somebody else on judge staff, but they're like, hey, how about we just do 4x13 for the first day and see how that works? And if it's bad, we'll totally let you seed your packs. TLDR, it worked fine. They were right. I was wrong. So it's been 4x13 ever since.
Judge staff occasionally knows what they're talking about.
Judge staff often knows what they're talking about. Major props to judges for all the work they do.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I miss judging, but I don't have the time for it.
Yeah.
It's a heavy commitment.
Yeah, there's a lot to keep up with for sure.
Yes. I do occasionally jump in on rulings or become the de facto judge for my friends. So it happens.
Well, I think there's a natural overlap with folks that are curating projects like this, right? You have your finger in the pie of all sorts of complexities and like all sorts of interesting rulings because you've experienced them, because you've created an environment where they can happen.
Truth. Yes. The number of cube curator judges, like the Venn diagram, has a pretty significant overlap.
Right. Or like could be judges by rules knowledge, perhaps.
Goodness, yes.
And I appreciate you walking us through that, because I think that's so helpful to see that not every project is here's the flash of insight and then a completed thing.
Oh, no. It was a horrible mess that took me years to make right. When I have friends who are starting off like, hey, I'm going to roll my own cube, it's like, okay, figure out what you want to do. Get some basic ideas and rules, put some stuff together and draft it. Don't think about it. Just put some stuff together and draft it. See what you like, see what you don't like, and use that information to change it and draft again. And keep doing that rapid prototyping until you think it's healthy, until it feels like it has an identity. And then you can do your serious curation and digging and trying to find just the right cards. But when you're first starting, you don't know where this is going to go. You just have an idea. So keep it loose and just prototype it.
Yeah, and like even borrowing from the greats, your flavor of what you're expecting or what you're hoping may not always line up with what other people have designed. So, having open arms is important.
There are a lot of cards where I'm like, hey, I'm thinking about including this, and people are like, that sucks, and I'm like, what do you mean? And they're like, well, A, B, C, and give me this rundown. I'm like, you're right. Wow, it does suck. What was I thinking?
Well, and how many times do you have the opposite experience too, where people are like, hey, don't put that in here, and then
oh, many, especially in the CEDH space, there are so many cards that I've played that I've had people go, why do you play that? That's not part of it. That thing's terrible, blah, blah, blah. And then a year later, they're like, oh, have you seen this like card? This is such great tech. And I'm like, stare.
That's so good. So, with so many changes underway and with all the experience that's come along with that, why a powered cube? What's kept you in that space?
I don't know. Sunken cost fallacy? No.
No, I didn't know if it was like, as you experience other things, if it's like, I want to take out this type of variance, or if it's like you just kind of fell in love with people casting Moxen.
It's very much a labor of love. I genuinely enjoy my powered cube environment. That said, I have a number of other cubes that are their own novelties. Like there's a star cube, there's a cube entirely focused on card names. There's
That was hilarious. I love that so much.
multiple cubes that are made for like 2 or 4 players, things that are only like these couple of sets. Like there's a whole bunch of different cubes. But this is the one I started with. This is what I've put the most effort into. This is what most people know me for. So it's where most of my energy goes.
So what type of cards don't make the cut here? Because you have the world is your oyster and you're exploring all sorts of strange things. It's like, what doesn't do it for you?
Things that are overly linear or parasitic. Like if this only works with these other cards, or you have to play these things because you're playing this, I generally don't like it. Likewise, if you get something that goes infinite with a ham sandwich, like Paradox Engine or something, it's like, this is
do
this
you
is
have
not what
other
I wanna do.
permanents on board? Yeah, then this is pretty good.
Cool, you win. We have other cards that we ran for a bit, and they were okay until something else came along, and we were like, oh. Good examples of this. Arcane Savant. Arcane Savant is cute and fun when you first start with it, but as soon as somebody realizes, hey, I've got Saw in Half, or I've got Sublime Epiphany, Arcane Savant's not fun anymore. It's, hey, I have this card in my deck and I drafted one of these other cards, I win. And that gets old.
And Arcane Savant has the crime of letting you do that from outside the game, too. You just
Exactly.
resolve it and it's over.
You'll only need one thing in your main. Similar, if you have Sovereign's Realm, and cool, I have Fast Bond in my deck.
You've built Channel.
It's Channel, but you keep the mana every turn. So you go in there, it's like, okay, I'm going to go and we're going to Wheel of Fortune, and then I'm going to Mind Twist you, and then I'm going to play the game, and you're going to have sadness. And we don't like that.
Aqua, that actually sounds so sick to do one time and then retire forever.
Yeah, there's other stuff where I think things are okay, or they are okay for a long time, and then someone who's a better player shows me that they're not okay. So that's where most of the conspiracies have gone away. I apologize to anyone who drafted while Hymn of Wilds was still in.
What a cool card. Yeah.
Most of the conspiracies are out. We're only on 2 of them that are left in there, which is Emissary's Ploy and Unexpected Potential. I do think I could bring back Advantageous Proclamation. I think that one's okay. A bunch of people are like, no, you're smoking crack. I don't know. But
what are friends for?
I hopefully not for smoking crack. I think you need some new friends.
Friends that are better influences for sure. Yeah.
Yes. But no, I like Advantageous Proclamation. I think it's all right.
So this also captures that feeling you're talking about, kind of the desire for novel experiences.
Yes.
You said you're not really aiming for a power maxed experience. Most people think of Vintage Cube as the top echelon of power. So how do you thread that needle of playing with the most powerful cards and pursuing unique gameplay happenings?
Yeah, you start off at 10 and then you dial it back a little. I think it was Jesse Bear who helped me understand where I wanted to be, because it used to say power maxed, and then I'm like, no, it's not. Because in a traditional power maxed cube, you're going to have a handful of decks that are, this is the tier 1 thing, these are the broken decks, and everything else is pretty much a trap. So if you go in on one of those tier 1 decks and you're not contested, because you're going to get multiple people trying to do Reanimator or trying to do whatever, and if you manage to be the sole person doing that, you're going to get the 3-0. Yay. That's not what I want. Like, that's less fun. I want everything to be capable of winning. I want that variance. So I'm a combo player at heart. I love seeing people make an engine, do amazing things, and you just don't have room for that in Power Max. There's 2-card eye wins and infinites, but there's not a lot of creative expression. So what I look for are cards that can fulfill multiple roles, find homes in multiple shells, rather than being the optimal card for a specific archetype. It's more glue, less bombs.
Has that become easier or more challenging as more cards are printed each year?
That's a good question. I would say that it has become easier You just have to realize that some cards are not going to be fun in your environment, and you just don't consider them. One benefit that we get, though, is you get cards that have more modality to them. Like, take a card like Vibrance. Being able to bring that in because you can use it to find your Gaia's Cradle or your Academy or whatever else. You can also use it to burn in a pinch, and that's valuable. We're getting more cards that have interesting upsides or modalities to them. One of the favorite cards that I have, and probably one of the things that best exemplifies what I look for in a card, is Galadriel's Dismissal. You can use that to dodge removal. You can use that to get rid of their blocker if you need to punch something through. You can use it to get rid of their entire board if you want to Alpha Strike. But the fun plays for this are, I phase out all my creatures. I cast Balance. Or other things that are like, this is not what the card was intended for, but you can. And that's usually what I look for.
I like one of the things you suggest in your overview for your cube here, where you say that high power cards and high risk, high reward play is embraced. Like, I know that's sometimes when people are thinking of a vintage environment, it kind of feels polarizing, or you think of it in your mind as like, that's just really swingy. One person gets ahead. Do you find that happens, or is that something that like this is part of the experience?
Part of the curation that I've done is making sure that the interaction density matches the threat density. One of the best plays that we saw, like everybody's sort of stopped and went, oh, I'd had to look over and see what happened. There was a guy who cast Doomsday. Their opponent flashed in Opposition Agent.
Oh, no.
No. So you have these things where you can go for the setup, but you can also very easily get burned. And everything that's in the list would usually have some sort of foil. There's a few things that are still grandfathered in that are probably going to change their composition over the next year. Specifically, I'm probably going to make some more changes surrounding Time Vault. But there's always going to be something to interact in an interesting way with the strategy someone is doing. One of the conscious choices I make is to have a lot of 1-mana evasive options, or just specific 1-mana evasive options that are really hard to block, so that if somebody takes the initiative, you can steal it right back. We've had tons of games where somebody thinks they're going to stick their turn 2 White Plume Adventurer and ride it to victory, only to be foiled by Ginger Brute. And if you can't get the initiative back, the game swings so hard the other direction. And that's what I want to see. I want people to find outs. I want people to find ways to use their cards to do something.
I'm glad you mentioned combo again. I know that you said that's kind of a passion of yours. How do you engage with combo here? You know, you said you don't want a lot of 2-card wins, but maybe more than 2?
Yes, especially if you're using cards outside of how they're intended. I think it was Murray who first made the opposition Nadu deck.
Okay.
So
this sounds heinous.
Yeah. So tapping his own things for advantage. One of the best decks that somebody put together last year out of nowhere was 6 Altar of Dementia and Phyrexian Dreadnought.
Oh, wild. Oh, because you get to replay it and sacrifice it with its ability on the stack.
Yep. So it's 1 mana pitch a land, mill 12. 1 mana pitch a land, mill 12. So it was a deck with those. It had Ashiok, the War of a Spark Mill Ashiok, and a couple other things. It was just like, just brutal.
I mean, it's not like you have to sell me on an experience like this, but I imagine even just this brief moment of just a couple that you've mentioned so far of like, I'm just sitting here laughing my head off thinking about all this. And it's like that you get to experience stuff like that every time you draft. Like that's got to be just a huge draw.
Yes, very much so. There is a term that was coined by Andrew McGreeny. This may need to get censored. It is a term called cube, and I am a very shameless cube. I frequently don't draft my cube. I just watch because I get more pleasure out of watching other people enjoy my cube than actually playing in my own cube.
Because then you get to, like, it's not impacting whether you're winning or losing. You just get to experience the highs with the people who are in there.
Exactly. Yes.
I would love to hear you talk a little bit more about this idea of story cards. You mentioned this as like the sorts of cards that lead to something more than what they were intended for originally. Like, how do you define something like that, and how does that fit into what you're aiming for?
Frequently for friends in the CDH space, they will ask me for tech, or I will just sort of volunteer tech on them. Continue got spoiled for the TMNT set today, and I already have people brewing on that with infinites using Ruthless Technomancer and other cards. But when you see something that has a hook or has like a unique ability and there's some way to exploit it, that scratches an itch. So we have things like Indoraptor that a lot of people just look at as, okay, it's a beater. But what they miss is that, no. You want to do damage to it. So your Lava Spike, Flashback Lava Spike, Cast Grape Shot, those types of things win the game. So you get out your Indoraptor, it's got 7 counters on it, and you Grape Shot that thing, and cool, you've now got 3 copies of Sacrifice a non-land creature or take 7.
Man.
That's not how people originally think of the card, but that's what you can do. And that's what I want to see. I want to see people putting things together to do something new, to do something novel.
And I know this is kind of the impossible question to this. Like, is there a heuristic or way to look for cards that would do that sort of thing?
Find things that reference more generic stuff or cards that just read unusually. If you take Philia, right? The fact that Philia will return the object to its owner's control, right? It's like, okay, so if you have something like Gilded Drake, you can go in there, play your Gilded Drake, swap it for whatever their bomb is, swing with Philia, flicker the Gilded Drake, and end of turn, you take back something else that's crazy and give them their Gilded Drake. You can keep doing that as long as you have a way to keep Philia alive. I like those sorts of things. There isn't a clear heuristic or a clear thing to look for. It's more just look for something that seems a little odd or that has something unique to it. Like Continue, again, is one of those examples where it's like, wait, this is like a pseudo second sunrise, right? I'm bringing back 4 of my dudes. How can I exploit this? Okay. If you have like Sidisi or you have anything that can return an instant when it enters, you can go and start looping this. Okay, so if I get something that gives me mana, or I can sack creatures for mana, and I can get something to bring back the Continue, I can make a loop. So
yeah,
the more that you think like a Johnny, the more you look at cards for weird possibilities, the easier it is to find these things.
well, it's funny because I can hear you getting excited even as you describe this, like as an example, that like that you're already getting fired up for that.
We are coming up with things in Esper and Abzan and other color combos just to go infinite with this card, and it's like it just came out today.
Can't wait to get it to the table.
Oh, yes.
What ideas or experiences do you take from your powered cube to apply to the other projects you work on?
At places that I've worked, I'm frequently the person who comes up with edge cases and finds creative ways to do things that the platforms were not designed to do. I was working at this one company and we needed to we needed a project tracking and like cost estimation tool, but we couldn't get the platform team to build the necessary functionality. So I found these weird formulas that could look across time and exploited those to make these like complex queries that the developers said, this shouldn't be possible. I'm like, but it is.
That's so good.
If I write this feature, will you not do this? Yes. So that works. But no, I've worked in QA, and so being able to find unexpected uses for things or finding all the possibilities in things is very good when you're trying to figure out how can I break this. Because the standard QA example is like, okay, a Q engineer walks into a bar. He orders a beer. He orders 2 beers. He orders half a beer. He orders -1 beers. He orders null beers. He orders a weasel, because that's how the QA engineer's mind has to think.
And you know the rest of that joke?
Oh, go with it.
Because then the first customer comes in and asks where the bathroom is, and the bar explodes.
Oh, so true.
It's one of my favorite jokes about that. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, I would be remiss, Aqua, if I didn't ask, how did you develop your appreciation for magic art and artists?
So, being in the Seattle area, a lot of our local events just conveniently have artists in them. Like, I was at Cube Night last night, and Evan Fong walked by, and I'm like, oh, hi. So, it's like, you throw a rock, oops, you hit an artist.
Please don't hit artists. Support your artists.
No, goodness, no. Artists are wonderful, precious people.
But yeah, like being in the heart of things there in Seattle, very close to where Wizards of the Coast is headquartered, so you're going to be naturally close to where some of the people are that they've worked with over the years.
Mm-hmm. And I've always loved the art of the game. It's a big part of what drew me to it. Before we had like as much complexity, it was like, oh, this is like really cool fantasy art. So when I first had opportunity to meet the artists, not going to lie, I fanboyed a little. I think sometimes I probably still do. But I love getting signatures, not because I flip cards, not because of much of anything other than I have something that reminds me of the person who made this. This is something that's personal for me now, and that extends to alters. Most of the time when I get alterations done, I say artist choice. There's only a few times where I'll explicitly request something, and you get whatever the artist chooses to create. Same thing with artist proofs, although I want to eventually build 100 proof commander deck, so
nice.
I'm going to start requesting some more recognizable art on the backside of APs. But I have a ton right now that is like, okay, this is definitely in flavor. So we have one of the Windgrace cards, and there's like a strip mine on the back. Or there's a whole bunch of APs I have that are really bad in-jokes.
The best kinds.
Yes. Or just horrible puns. So Cynthia Shepherd and I make a lot of ridiculous jokes back and forth whenever we see each other at events. So for Treasure Cruise, you ever seen the movie Legend with Tom Cruise and Tim Curry?
That's one I'm going to have to add to my list.
So Tom Cruise plays this like knight character, and he's got this like ringmail armor thing, and it kind of looks like coins. And so we have this treasure chest full of coins with Tom Cruise popping out of it because it's a treasure cruise.
Amazing. That's so good.
And it is an absolutely ridiculous joke. We have the battle cruiser they had from Edge of Eternities. I had Joe Cameron do the Terran battle cruiser from StarCraft on the back.
Excellent. Yes. Good.
I don't know. I have this entire binder of APs now. I got a couple more in the mail recently from Akbar. If you're in the proof community, you know who Akbar is. And he hooked me up with a couple new ones, and they are beautiful. I love having just personal art, and it's just, I look at it and I'm like, this is so cool, and it just makes me happy.
So the dangerous question I want to ask about the artist proofs and signatures and alters is, how does that impact accessibility for people sitting down to the cube for the first time who may not recognize art or signatures?
Yeah, it's an absolute nightmare, and I do not recommend that people do it in general for curation. There's a thing in my area is like, yeah, there's no concessions made for accessibility in this. I'm sorry. And it's true. Like, the pro is that you get an absolutely beautiful piece of art. You get this unique game piece that is just incredible. But you do make this something that is not friendly to someone who isn't intimately versed in the game. I mean, some of the cards I have don't even have the card's name on it. Like, the Time Twister that I have was a filler card. So it had a white front, a magic back, and Mark Tadine did the art for Time Twister on it.
That's so amazing.
The only text on it is Mark Tadine. So if you don't know what Time Twister is, you're like, What?
I resolve Mark Tadine.
Yes. Mark Tadine lets me do broken things.
Yeah. I mean, truly though, yes.
Yeah. Soul Ring? Question mark?
Mox Diamond. Or no.
That's Dan Fraser.
That's Fraser. Sorry.
Yeah. The Boulder Crew represent. 'Cause that's where you got Dan Fraser and Doug Schuler, who one of my former roommates used to DM for Dungeons and Dragons with Doug Schuler.
That's amazing.
I have so much art and unique prints and stuff for things that are not related to Magic at all from Dan Fraser and Doug Schuler. I just have like a couple moving boxes full of stuff.
And not that this is like advice you would give to other people to pursue similar things, but like, how does that happen? Is it like you just happen to rub shoulders with the right people? Do you just thoughtfully send emails and letters and get connected to the right folks?
I mean, getting stuff done like on cards is just you show up at an event, you strike up a conversation with the artist, you express your gratitude with words and monies.
Well, I guess like more than the stuff, I'm just thinking like, how do you build connect? Or like, how did you build connections with some of these folks that are so lasting?
Going to a lot of events, and eventually you just get to know them and you start having small talk conversations while you're getting stuff done, and you just remember that yes, these are incredibly talented people and they're humans. They have regular lives. They have their own passions. And so you get to know each other, and eventually you're like going to their house or you're meeting up with them for lunch or whatever else, just because they're people. Treat them like people with a little bit of reverence for their talent. So I go to a ridiculous amount of events. Last year we went to 23 events.
Wow.
Yeah, there was this period in late September, early October where I think I had 1 or 2 weekends where I was not away somewhere. Obviously, I can't do that anymore because I'm unemployed right now. But when I'm employed,
that changes soon, certainly. But
yeah, when I'm employed again, we'll be going out to more. But I'm limiting myself to sort of like 1 a month right now, and calling that good.
So what do you do as you're working through the Powered Cube? What do you do for cards with artists that don't often do signatures, or that maybe you can't even get signatures or alters from anymore?
Yeah, so you just don't. Or you decide that maybe there's another printing by a new artist that's come out that maybe you can pursue. Or you just accept that, yeah, there's not going to be a signed version of that card. That's okay. Like, anything by Chippy, you're not going to get that signed.
Right.
And majority of the signatures you find online, yeah, those are fake. So it is what it is. I'm, as much as I would love to have it 100% signed, I don't think that's real for me. And if I do ever have the urge to play a 100% signed cube, I could just hit up Mountain Mage and be like, dude, let's draft.
There you go.
Because he has his fully signed cube, and it is beautiful. But the harder part for me, other than things that I can't get signed, the harder part is cutting cards that have been signed and altered.
Yeah,
I have a whole binder of those. Yeah, there's an entire binder of cards that have been cut from the cube that have been altered, and some of these just have beautiful illustrations, and it's like, oh man.
It's like you almost need the feeder team in the NBA or whatever. It's like you need another cube that just has the things that have,
people have joked about that. Like, dude, you need to make the B team. And I'm like, we'll see. But for now, they tend to show up in EDH decks here and there or other cubes, and it works. But it's painful because power creep keeps pushing things out, and I can only get so much signed. And since the artists who are doing the work keeps changing, a lot of these artists you don't get as many opportunities to see. You pretty much have to go through agents. And I guess this ties in with a previous question. So shout out again to Mountain Mage, to Ilya, to Donny Coltrider, to a whole suite of people who do that middleman work on your behalf for getting signatures, for getting APs, for getting alters. And there is an artist proof Discord that, if you're looking to get work done, is a wonderful resource to hop on.
And that's so cool that that's become so much more Accessible certainly, but like prevalent that people are seeing that now as a way to support artists directly and like to
Hmm.
encourage that sort of customization.
Yes. A lot of artists, when they first start showing up at events, do not realize the treasure trove they're sitting on.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll go in and like silver proofs for like $5, and they'll not put a limit on how many anyone can buy. And somebody will just, I'll buy all 50 or I'll buy all 30. Don't be that person. And if you see someone trying to be that person, intercede on the artist's behalf. Like, be like, dude, no, 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 no. Help to teach the artists that what they have is valuable, and eventually it'll catch on. I know that like Bruce Bernice now, when he had the ancient tombs, the space one for Edge of Eternities, he was finally charging what he should have been charging for some of the others. So those were up at like $200, I think, plus sketch costs on the APs. And it's like, yeah, that's what I want to see. I want to see you getting compensated for this. This is good.
Yeah, because the artists are compensated for their work by Wizards of the Coast, of course. But then the artist proofs, particularly, are a way for them to not only to get their work out further, but just to engage with the community in a broader way, and to be
Very true.
to be paid again. Like to benefit more from the work they've done.
Yes, yes. As well as prints and various other things. If you are a newer artist getting into things, make sure that you have somebody review your contract so that you can be able to put out prints and various other things without legal issue with Wizards.
Well, certainly your cube is a testament to so much of that because you covered, like you said, things like Jesper from the very beginning. You have all the the greats from the olden days, but then you're also working actively to connect with new artists as they come out too. Like it's a really really amazing spectrum of what's available.
Yeah, and for some of these, again, had to go through agents. So if there's anyone in Russia or a lot of Eastern Europe, you're probably going to go through Ilya. So originally for Sergei Glushkov, I had to go through him, and then he showed up at, I think it was like MagicCon Vegas, and I'm like, what are you doing here? And he's like, I got a visa, I figured might as well. I'm like, wow, okay. But for a lot of the artists, like you don't really have a choice because they're not going to show up here. So definitely take advantage of the resources that let you do this online. Just make sure it's trusted resources, not buying random signed cards on eBay because there's too high a chance you're going to get scammed.
Mm. Yeah, and support your artists, right?
Always support the artists, yes. And the agents for the artists, the representatives who are taking care of the orders, are not making big money off of this. They are taking the minimum that they need to just to make up for like their postage and time. They're doing this for the love of the art.
So yeah, supporting them too in that process seems optimal.
Yes, yes, because it makes sure that the artist can focus on doing more art, that they don't get randomized with a whole bunch of mail of sign my card, but that everything comes in like at once, and they have, okay, I'm going to spend a couple days signing a couple hundred cards, and then I'm not going to sign cards again for a few months. And that works out well. The two biggest signing services, I think, are Mountain Mage and...
the name that comes to mind for me is Mark Aronowitz, but
Yes, Mark,
okay.
yes. Yeah, so Mark Aronowitz is the agent for Dan and Doug, and he also has a signing service with tons of other artists. It's via Facebook, so it can be a little more awkward to use than Mountain Mages, but they are both valuable resources.
Absolutely. And also for original art, if you want to go down that path too.
Yes. And in that case, you also want to connect with Forfos Mike because he does a whole lot of the auctions and related stuff, as well as helping people acquire Heroes of the Realm cards, if that is your bag.
Man. It's a big, deep rabbit hole, isn't it? Like all the extra things beyond the game itself.
So much. Yeah.
Well, Aqua, a big part of how you engage with the Cube community is by bringing your Cube to events. You mentioned the prodigious number of events you attended this last year and like how often you are featured in some events upcoming too. How did you find your way into being what I've noted down as a road warrior, somebody traveling all the time for this?
There's only so many big enough gaming events in the area, and we didn't have regular cube nights yet. And so going to all the GPs back when they were called GPs.
Yes, yes, yes. The Grand Prix.
Oui, c'est la Grand Prix. We would travel to as many of these as we could because that was where you could meet a whole bunch of new people to share this experience with. Now that's not as needed, but I will say that if you go to an SCG or a face-to-face event or a MagicCon or anything like that, and you want to do Cube, you will be able to draft Cube the entire day. And
yeah.
it is a wonderful experience. But for me, originally it was just I wanted to draft the Cube more and I wanted to meet more people. And so that was what I did.
I know it takes a lot of work to bring this out and a measure of trust. How have you found presenting your cube to groups of strangers in new places?
Mostly positive, and I have made a lot of incredible friends in the process. There's only been one nightmare that happened, and that was someone stole a Judge Cradle.
This makes my skin crawl. I've heard this story before, and it makes me makes me ball up every time.
Yeah, but the important thing to remember about that is Murray, one of my best friends and just very solid guy, walks away from the table, walks back like 10 minutes later, just drops a foil crate on the table and says, "The draft must go on."
Man,
Let's leave it up.
that's so wild. That's so cool.
Murray is the GOAT to me, man. He has been doing cube curation for a long time. He runs his own store. He plays old school. He does all sorts of stuff. And he and I like bounce cube stuff. He makes a lot of the stuff I have for traveling. So the case that I have is the Cube Vault. If you're familiar with the old Cube Vault products, that's Murray. He is the guy behind them.
That's awesome. Yeah, those are like the metal cases, right?
Yes. So I have one that he handmade for me. He's like, yeah, I think I still got some stuff left. And so he puts one together and it's like, holy moly. So yeah, we was staying at his house and like we did this trip to Joann's and got fabric and we like assembled the thing together and it was really cool.
You know, as much as we talk about things like archetypes and strategy and like hearing those kind of things where you're building these relationships that are so critical outside the game, like this is all beyond Cube, right? Like that's awesome. That's so encouraging.
Yeah, the community has been there for each other so often. I'm grateful for the times that I've been able to step up and help people, and I have cried a lot of happy tears the last few days from support that members of the community have given me. And a lot of the opportunities that I've had to meet new people and have new experiences because of this. In January of this year, people at Manivault in Milwaukee, awesome store, support it.
Yes.
They invited me out for an event, and I am so grateful to them. I still need to write them a proper thank you and write my event summary and all that for that, but it was such an incredible experience. And there's just so much love and support in our community, and it is beautiful to be a part of that.
Absolutely. Well, Aqua, you've curated your Powered Cube and you've been engaged with this community for almost 20 years, or maybe over 20 years in some capacity. What have been some of the biggest changes you've experienced as a designer or player?
Other than it actually being a thing.
Yeah, sure.
Because originally we just didn't. But no, I love the tools that have been developed. I love the community and support and ways of getting feedback that have emerged. It has been uplifting maybe to see how far things have come, to see the breadth of possibility that Cube has become. In the early days, it was just, hey, you get to play all the most broken things. This is amazing. To its full potential of cube is just a concept. It's this idea that you can take all the game pieces and rules for Magic the Gathering and remix these into a completely new experience. Things can be entirely recontextualized. Things can hardly resemble Magic at all. Surprise, we're now playing Ascension. Surprise, this is now an auto battler. Like, this is awesome. You have people who've made their emblem cubes or things like bulk cubes that just have this radical recontextualization. And I love that cube is so much more than just powered cube. Like, sure, I'm known for my powered cube, but I love that it's more than that. I love that it's not just something that small. And I do hope that more people get a chance to try cube outside of things like the Moto Vintage and even my environment. Like, I want people to try all sorts of different cubes, try things that are outside of even what you think you're going to do. For a while, I was anti-desert, and now, heck yeah, let's do desert. Let's do no construction. Let's do whatever. Now I am down for almost any experience, but it genuinely took me a long time to get there. So I hope that other people can be more open-minded and just try everything. And if you're going into curation, don't worry if what you're doing is something that people have done before and you think yours is just going to be a copy. Don't worry if something has never been done before and you don't know if it's going to work. Just make it because you want to make it, and tinker with it as long as you want to tinker with it. If you're not liking it, drop it. But be open to trying things. Don't stand in your own way.
Don't stand in your own way. That's a great piece of advice. Oh man, well this has been so much fun to talk about, and there's so much more that we hopefully will get to talk about, perhaps in person sometime, in future conversations. But as we're turning toward wrapping up today, I do want to ask you, Aqua, one of my favorite questions, which is, if you could have any card printed as a promo, what card would you pick and who would you have do the illustration?
That is a toughie, and oh man.
I was wondering if you could even answer this, like with as many connections to so many artists as you have.
I would love to reward an artist who I am closer with, but I think that I'd have to go with something just because I would love to see it. And that would be, I would like to see what either Richard Kane Ferguson or Tom Baxa would do with Rotting Regisaur.
Yeah.
Because we only have one art for Rotting Regisaur. Like, it's been printed multiple times. I think it's printed like 6 or 7 times, but it only has one art. And Tom truly embraces the darkness in what he creates. And RKF stuff is iconic. So seeing what either of them would do with that card would be very special to me.
That's a great call. Like, Thomas has been doing art for, oh my goodness, for decades, I think, at this point. He's been in the game for a long time. And like you said, Richard Kane Ferguson, what a style.
Legend.
Like,
yes.
Like each of these artists, of course, but the kind of thing that you see on a card and you go, yep, I know who that is.
Yeah. Sadly, RKF's not doing alters anymore, but outside of very rare cases. But he does still sign, and he still loves meeting people. So, good people.
And Rotting Regisaur, the king of the beats there.
Yeah, and it's another one of those cards that I love because, like, you can use it just as a beater. Cool, it's 3-turn clock. You can use it for Reanimator, or you can use it for, like, artifact shenanigans or delirium or any number of things, because it's one of those things that just has open-ended usage, which is what I love about cards.
Well, Aqua, again, I'm so grateful to you for taking the time to chat with me today. If folks want to learn more about your cube, certainly peruse the gallery of the amazing altars, signatures that have been done, or see some of the other things you're working on. Where would be the best place for us to point them?
Yeah, the easiest place to see the cube is cubecover.com/c/aqua1, and I'm on Blue Sky as aqua1. Other than that, in Discord, that's like the only socials I'm on right now. So that's the easiest place.
Well, fantastic. Aqua, thank you so much. You are a delight. Your projects are a delight, and I'm so glad we got to spend the moments here. I'm looking forward to the next chance we get to meet, which I think is going to be here in just a few weeks at the Shoebox Convention.
I'm looking forward to it, yeah. My next couple conventions are Kinetic Cube, which is Very soon. It may happen before this episode, yeah.
The weird anachronism of podcasts. We'll see.
Oh, I try to explain like content curation to people. It's like, yeah, you're going to spend like an hour or two recording stuff. You're going to spend anywhere from 10 to 30 hours editing it. And you're going to get a finished product that's like 30 to 40 minutes. And so mad respect to content creators such as yourself who make this material for the rest of us to consume. Thank you.
Oh, yes. I am stoked that I get to spend time with folks like yourself, that we get to celebrate all the cool things that are happening, and I get to have a great time doing it.
As do we. Thank you for having me.